Hello, Mario. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. This is going to be the first podcast that we're doing on my new medicine that I'm taking for my ADHD.
What
I
is this
sound very
medicine you're talking about?
medicine in English. It's
Yeah,
called medicine. Pat,
I know. I don't know what I was gonna say.
what is
What
this
is this
medicine tin? Um,
medicine
so
sediment? I was gonna say
I
sediment or
was
some shit.
really
I don't know.
against meds my entire life. I did not want to take any meds. You would have to force me to take anything, basically. Mostly because in my household, it was always a remedy of something. You could always like put a potato on your throat. You can cut a potato and put that in your throat if you have a sore throat. There was always remedies. Italians always had these weird remedies. So I was always against meds. However, after my testing, and I realized that I need to be on meds, and I started taking Adderall. And let me tell you that I've watched videos on people taking Adderall. Wow. It is game changing. I wish I had this brain the last 30 years. I would have been a much different person, but
Not
it
not
probably
just your
made me the
brain though.
person.
Even your face looks better.
Why I put makeup on today?
Oh, is that what?
It's the
Okay.
lighting.
Is it the?
It's the lipstick I'm wearing right now.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, dude. I'm feeling
You
really,
look good. I'm not gonna lie.
thank you. I feel connected. Like I feel connected with, people with ADHD, well, at least me, the racing thoughts would get the best of me. So I would have like 400 thoughts going in my head at all times. And then my brain would give me all the worst possible outcomes of those thoughts. And they would lay them all out for me. And then I would have to choose. It was, remember those books when we were kids, Choose Your Own Adventure?
Yep.
My adventures were all dark caves with dragons inside them. It's like, which one do you want to go into today? Um, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
So does that mean that our podcasts are gonna be less all over the place now?
Yes, and I might even let you finish a sentence before interrupting you, which is gonna be really weird. My
That's
therapist yesterday was like, "Yeah, it's gonna take me a while to get used to this, Mario, because I'm not like ding, 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 ding all over the place." It's pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting because we had some feedback from the first episode, and a lot of people loved it actually. That we were all over the place, and then other people were like, "You know what? You should finish a subject before you go on to another one."
So I was
I,
riding this bicycle one day, and no, I'm just kidding. I wasn't riding. I was trying to change the
change the
subject.
subject,
I
right?
was trying to change the
Exactly.
subject.
So, do
We
we
had a
have any
lot of
fit?
we had a people commenting on our YouTube page. Um, it was pretty cool. It was
That's what
pretty
I was going
cool.
to ask you. What's the feedback? So you have
Do you
access
want
to
the
all
latest
this.
one from an hour ago?
Sure.
You two are amazing. I can't wait for the next episode. Those llamas laughing emojis. Remember the llamas that you
Of
make your
of
watches out of?
of course, I remember the llamas.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah.
It was a pleasure to listen to. Keep up the great work. That was from Just Be You 032. Thank you for that comment. George Clean.
Georgina. Wow. So Adderall is not helping you read. It's
Obviously
Georgina.
not. George. Oh,
Georgina,
Georgina. It
bro.
is
What the
Georgina. Oh
fuck?
my God. So next episode is when I get my new glasses, maybe. That'll be Adderall and new glasses. Um, Georgina says, loving this. And the one, oh my gosh, there's one from hockey underscore bear. That's a really long one. Holy cow. She wrote you a book. Did you see that one?
I did. I did see that one. Didn't get
Oh,
a chance to respond yet, but
okay.
I
Yeah,
gotta get to it.
that was a long one. So thank you. Thank you for the comments. We really appreciate the feedback. You know, Again, we mentioned this last show. We don't have all the answers, but we have our answers, and that's the only answers you're really going to get, unless you ask us a question, and then we'll answer your questions per se.
There,
Oh, there's one here. First, congratulations on the first podcast. It was wonderful. I could resonate with so much. I'll guess that Patrick is going to the Azores, Canary Islands, or the Zakynthos in Greek islands. That's what they guessed. And we're
yeah,
gonna
no,
tell people
not
when you
going to
come
Greece.
back.
Yeah, exactly,
When you come back.
exactly. You'll
Was she
know.
close at all?
Nope,
Okay.
not at all. Nope.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Lena Bin 3225. You will not be on the final showcase on this episode.
There
So
you go. So what I did see though, I saw that a lot of people really enjoyed the fact that we opened up as men and talked about relationships as well as our parents, our upcoming. A
mhm.
lot of people commented on that saying they love that and that they could relate. So I think people want to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah. How does that work?
Well,
You
We
ask a
continue.
question. How about I ask you a question and then you ask me a question?
Hit me.
Let's, it's like, well, give me a second here. I need to think about like our last episode. We talked about our family members, like our two lifestyles.
Yeah,
Italians opposed to in love Quebecans.
exactly.
Because your parents are just sickening in love with each other. I'm gonna tell you.
Absolutely in love. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that is a big difference. And growing up, it was about trying to figure out what is up and what is down. And, I could just give an example. So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back 20 years. So I'm going to ask you about your marriage, your first marriage, the 7-year
Ooh,
marriage. Okay.
okay.
Because last episode you said, if you can last 7 years, you got it. Well, I lasted 7 years and I thought I had it. And then I had a divorce at my 10-year mark. So my question to you is let's go with the first 3 years of your marriage. Now you're not that old, but you could probably remember the first 3 years of marriage.
Yeah.
It's something new. You were in a relationship, you got married. The first 3 years, did you see any signs that things were kind of going in a different direction by either party?
Not at all. I mean, the three first years, 3, 4 first years, you're still in your honeymoon phase, I think, you know?
Really? For 3 years?
Well, for some, yeah. I mean, it lasts a little longer. I know that for people, it's some is like a few months, some is like 2 years. But for good relationships, this could last, 3, 4, 5 years sometimes.
But how
Um,
how long is the 7 years, including the dating period, or were you married for 7 years?
no, we were together for 7 years, so
Okay, so
including the dating.
so
Yeah.
is the 3-year mark dating? How long did you date before you got married?
2 years.
So 2 years.
Actually,
So
I don't even remember. Hold on a second. I
oh my
think so.
god, you're
Yeah,
so
2 years.
young.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, come on. I put this relationship behind me way back.
Right. What number love was that?
That was number. That was number two.
That was number 2.
Yeah,
Damn. Okay.
that was
So
number two.
so 3 years, no difference. What about 5 years?
5 years
Oh,
it started showing. Yep.
5 year.
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
five
now we're
years it
gonna
started.
pause there. Now it's
Yeah.
my turn. So now you can ask me up to the 5-year mark. Go ahead.
Well, so we talked about your relationship. Your relationship obviously was which was 7 too. So were you in that honeymoon phase for 2 years, 3 years? Where did you see the switch?
So I didn't see a switch
Oh,
personally.
you didn't.
No.
Okay.
So I think because of my attachment style growing up and the way I was, is I basically fell in love after a week. I
Okay.
was I was head over heels in love. And that love just basically stayed at a plateau level for 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 years. Because when I was all in instantly. Now, the dating side of things, when I started dating, I hear people always talk about, we dated for a year and then they met my parents and da 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 da. 2 weeks into that relationship, I was like, I want her to meet my parents. I want to be married. I wanted to jump in really quick. Now I was
Right.
young and I was able to. I mean, I enjoyed my life with friends and everything else, but like I said in my last episode, I never had serious 2-year relationships like you in high school. I had one relationship. She cheated on me. Self esteem was thrown out the window. I didn't want to date because I didn't like the feeling of being hurt.
Right.
So and I would never, the biggest problem with me, I never knew how to, I probably knew how to, but I didn't want to. Never knew how to flirt. I didn't know how to if I was interested in someone, the instant guard that I had in front of me of you're not good enough for this person, so don't even try, would block me from actually trying with that person. So my go-to was like, be her friend. Just be her friend and everything else will work out if you can just be her friend. And when I saw her take an interest in me back then as more than a friend, for me, it was like a light switch. I went from, wow, we're in friend to we're in love, married, and we're done. So, and that was a curse because at year 5, I was losing interest or I was like, I don't know, like what more can we do here? Because it started so heavy for me.
So do you remember? I want to say you said "I love you" first.
Me? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Dude, I was
And
being
then
careful with that. I was like, if I say fucking I love you on the first day, this is gonna be weird. She's gonna be like, don't call me ever.
yeah, because that is anxious attachment. right?
Right.
They have
Right.
tendency to say "I love you" very quickly. What about when you asked her to marry you? How long did that take?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 years.
And so the first 2 years were magic, right? It was just fireworks and everything, and then
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. I wanted to live together right away. Like I would have been after the second date, I was ready to live with her. Like I was like, I don't want to be again. Now that I'm 50, looking back, I'm like anxious attachment. Here I come,
yeah, yeah,
And it was like I didn't want to be alone. However, growing up in that household, not blaming my mother or my father or anything else, but in my household, anxious attachment was the main course every night,
right.
every night. And whether you come from an Italian family or a Jewish family, Italian and Jewish mothers, they understand the art of guilt. They know how to lay it out there, and it's always like, don't leave me. Why would you want to leave me? Like you hear these things as a child, you know? So right away I wanted to live with her. And I wanted just like let's start my life. Let's start life. Because if I mess up this opportunity, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life.
And how old were you?
12? No, just kidding. I was
Imagine. Let's move in 12.
I was going from pre-K to kindergarten. No. I was early 19, 19, 20. Yeah, I was over 19. Sorry. Let me go.
Okay.
I'm going to say 21-ish.
But I mean, that still falls in that, period where you do want to move out of your parents as soon as possible. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's also that side, I think, that we can't confuse. Like, there's the attachment style, anxious, right? You want to move in quickly, but there's also the fact that you probably want to move out also. Obviously, you're Italian, so you probably would have
No,
stayed
dude,
till you
my
were
mom made
45.
amazing food and
Yeah,
I didn't pay any bills.
that's what I was gonna
Like,
say.
let's face it.
Yeah,
Like I was cool, like not having to do my laundry and stuff,
right.
like I was, because my mom took care of all that stuff. Right.
Hmm.
But I was ready. I was ready. I started my first business when I was 19 years old in Canada.
There you go.
I was working night shift in the logging industry and I didn't want to work with them anymore. And I decided my dad and my uncle, we went into business and I started my first business when I was 19. So I was like ready to be an entrepreneur and like move on with life and go on
So
to
let me
bigger
let
and
me
better.
guess. Italian. You went into restaurant.
No, I was in logging. And obviously your short term memory is still not working really well. I just said logging.
No, I know that's what you said you were doing, but
I
I
was
didn't.
still logging.
Okay,
I was
that's
a
the business you
logger.
started.
Dude, I worked with Frenchmen. I had all people from Quebec working for me.
Really, they're the
That
best,
were
right?
what's that?
They're the best, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Um, but yeah, they were. So I was in the log industry. I started my business, but as far as relationship goes, like I had to work hard because I looked at my dad. My dad worked hard. He came here with a suitcase on a 2 month voyage from Luxembourg to. It was from Italy, but he was in Luxembourg, and he 2 months and went to this place called America and had to work hard for everything he had. And that's what I saw. So when I started working as an entrepreneur, um, and I met someone, I was like, okay, this is life. This is what you do.
Right,
Relationships, how to maintain a relationship was never part of my MO, ever part of my
right.
MO.
And now you're going on to 29 years old, right?
Now I'm going to be 28 next year.
28 next year. Okay, perfect. So looking back at it now, at this relationship, those first, 5 years, what did you learn from it? Did you learn anything from it, or it was just like nothing?
What did I learn from my first 10 years of marriage?
No, the first five of that
Oh,
relationship.
nothing. Zero.
Because I mean, you said after five, right? It just started like being stagnant.
Yeah, I think
But
after I said I do, it started becoming stagnant. If I have to be honest, after I said I do, I was like, oh, okay. Well, let me look back. When my dad got married, he just went to work. Mom did, mom cooked and she did household stuff. So this is it. This is all I have to do. Once I was married, that was it. I had no more work to do in my mind.
so you didn't learn nothing at all.
Nothing. Zero.
Wow.
I didn't learn. How about you? Okay, after 5 years, you started seeing a decline. So
Yep.
what does the great almighty Patrick do when he sees a decline?
Well, first things first, that was my first one, right? There was a first relationship where I saw a decline and then unfortunately led to divorce. So when I went into my other relationship after that, I was being way more careful with the whole what's it looking like now? How's it going to look later? Because you don't want to repeat the same thing, right? You have to learn
Right.
at least you try to learn something from every relationship.
Mhm.
And so when I saw that and I saw, that same thing, I got engaged quickly, we got married, everything was beautiful. I just basically learned not to rush into things anymore. And so the relationship right after, I'll tell you something, I was taking my sweet ass time. I was like, you
Okay.
know what? I don't care how long this takes. If it takes me 3 years to tell you I love you, I'd rather that than to be heartbroken and to just see the whole relationship go down the drain again.
Hmm.
Right.
Interesting. See,
And
complete opposite, dude. I
yeah.
can't even relate to that. Because for me, it was like she cheated on me. That girlfriend I had in high school cheated on me. So for me, it was like I I wasn't taking my sweet ass time. I have to do everything I can right now to hang on to this one really, really tight. Because if I don't do everything right, she's going to cheat on me and leave me again, and then I'm going to be alone, and then I'm going to die. That was my thought process.
Well, this is where I realized like there's different degrees of anxious attachment, right? Because I'm one too. I was one too. And I'm just realizing now by having all these discussions with people in the comments and on the social media with you, there are different degrees of anxious attachment style. And I think that, yours was probably up there in the extremes.
Well, you, I think you're still anxious attachment. I think yours is on
Oh, for
hold.
sure. I still have it, but
Yeah,
I'm worried, I'm working towards the whole secure.
but do
And
you
that's what
actually
I'm
think it goes away?
absolutely not. No,
No. Okay.
no,
Good.
because I think that we have triggers.
Right.
Right, we have
Right.
triggers, and it's the you might change your attachment style might change along the way, but we still have triggers, and those triggers can still be triggered.
Yep.
you know I don't remember who I was telling this week, but I think it was my hairdresser. Yeah, it was my hairdresser. I was telling her this. I'm like, women are so similar. They'll say the same things, they'll do the same stuff, and it's very difficult because when you jump from one relationship to another or you start dating and you see these things happen, there are these triggers that'll come back, like with certain words
Oh yeah,
or
for
certain
sure.
actions, and that'll
For
trigger
sure.
you, and you're like, oh shit, I've already been through this. And then you get into the defensive mode, like, wait a minute, I've already been through this. I don't want to have the same result, so I'm going to try this thing differently this time.
Hmm.
And those
You know,
triggers never go away.
that's why I started this episode talking about Adderall and my ADHD. Because if I had this mindset that I have today, talking to you back then, oh my goodness, like what an amazing tool I would have back then to be able to understand that. I mean, at best, let's be honest, anxious attachment is that fight or flight inflated 100 times over, right?
Yeah.
Because you're thinking you're going to die at any moment. At any moment, life's in a crumble. Do you know about parts work? Have you ever heard of parts work?
No, tell me about it.
Parts work is I've been working with this on my therapist. And have you ever said to yourself when someone invites you to dinner or a party, and you're like, God, part of me wants to go, but part of me doesn't want to go.
I would call that social anxiety, but
Okay.
sure.
Well, okay, definitely. Um, but a part of you, there's all these parts that were within us, like the movie Inside Out. You've seen the movie
Yes,
Inside Out.
I have.
So
Yeah.
the last one with anxiety, Inside
Yeah.
Out 2 with anxiety, I was like, oh my God, that's who
That's
lives in
me.
my head. That's what she
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
And as I started to understand parts work was really relevant on how I think. And I have a guy that lives in my head. His name is Doomslayer. And Doomslayer is like the mayhem Allstate guy. So he fucks everything up, right?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, when we started working on parts work, I hated Doomslayer. I hated that he would, on a good day, something would go off, my anxious attachment would kick in, and I would hate Doomslayer for making me feel the way I was: sad, angry, jealous,
Mm-hmm.
mad, whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
After almost 2 years in therapy, and understanding myself and learning about my mental health and learning about parts work, I've learned to respect Doomslayer because all he's doing is trying to get me through my day. And I have different parts. I have a guy, his name is Jurgen. I had to
So
name them. It
you
was really
named
weird.
this.
Jurgen's got like a knit sweater. He's from Sweden. He's got a little
Wow.
beard. He's very,
You
um,
took this to another level,
I
bro.
took it to another level.
Yeah.
Yes. But Jurgen is like just sitting on a rocking chair, smoking a pipe, and he's just looking at Doomslayer, like trashing the kitchen, and it's that inner consciousness of me trying to keep everything at a nice level. And all these different parts are trying just to get you through the day.
Right.
Like, don't die.
Right.
Right. And at a young age, at that year 5 that we're talking about right now, um, that year 5 or year 7 or year 10, whenever it comes, if you're not managing those internals and you're not managing those finding yourself and finding the place you need to be harmonious, like, I don't care. I don't care what you do, you're not going to get through. You're not going to get through a decent relationship because, especially a woman's mind who is way more advanced than ours. And I'm sorry for the men hate that I'm going to get for that. But as soon as you get off that soapbox that you got a set of balls and you think you know it all, buddy,
Mm.
I'm sorry, but you have another thing coming. Listen to your significant other, your wife, your spouse, your girlfriend. Now, if it's a one night stand, whatever. But if it's someone you say you love and you truly say you love them, listen to them. They are different. They see life different. But in order to get along with them, you have to respect them and let them be themselves. And I never, ever knew how to do that, Patrick, until the last 2 years when the love of my life left me.
Hmm.
And that's when my life was halted because my soulmate, my best friend, was gone. And it wasn't the girl that cheated on me. It wasn't the marriage I destroyed because of my mental health. The love of my life left. And
Yeah.
it all caught up to me. Um, so so that we're jumping ahead, but
Let me
I
ask you
want to
this
go
though.
back. I want to go back.
I want to go back to so you talked about let's go personal. All right, I'm gonna go personal. You talked about one night stands as an anxious attachment. Did you ever have any?
No,
You see,
I can't.
that's the thing. So I haven't either. I've never myself had a one night. And I think this is very. And I don't want to sum it all up. I don't want to put everyone that has an anxious attachment in a same basket, but this seems to be something that is a tendency with anxious attachment styles
Right.
because we have a tendency to get attached and we need that feeling. We need that closeness to be able to get into that intimacy.
Now, are you talking about one night stand and having sex?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
there's been situations where I've given affection to people, like you want to be in, if you're dating and you want to be with somebody, uh, but not like one night stand having sex that night. That would be impossible. That would
That's
literally be, I would have to be impossible. There was no way.
okay, because that's what I'm talking about. Most people that have anxious attachment, again, not putting everyone in the same basket, but they have a tendency to need that closeness or some sort of feeling to be able to get to that level,
Totally. Yeah.
right? So I'm happy you say that because you see that's something that we have in common, and I think a lot of people have that in common. I don't know if you want to say it in the comments if you did or not. You don't have to, but I'd be curious to know what the statistics are of that.
Right. And I don't know if there is one. I would have to Google. We should Google that to see if there's an anxious. How many anxious attachments get laid on the first night they meet somebody.
I just feel like this is an avoidant thing, you know, because they're able to split, between sex and emotions. Like
Right.
they can separate both. Like the sex is one thing and emotions and vulnerability and intimacy is another one. They're
Right.
able to split the two. So I think that, people that have a high body count might have some tendencies of avoidance or secure, depending,
Right.
where they're at. But anxious, I don't think it's a thing.
No.
I don't
No.
think it's a thing. Or it goes to the complete opposite where you're so anxious, where you always need to feel that affection that you do go on a rampage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And you just sleep with everybody. But
But
I think,
even during my manic episodes that I was having, like I had two clear manic episodes in my life, and um, for me, it was more of the spending. I would spend money like it was water. That was my dopamine dump that I would want to get. I would want to
yeah,
just spend money, and I would want to. And the last manic episode I had here 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I was in full. I wanted to self destruct. I knew that I had mental health issues. Probably deep down, I knew I had mental health issues, but I wasn't willing to put my finger on it and say, you have mental health issues. Because for years, I just rolled with the punches. I was like,
yeah,
well, whatever. It's worked. It's worked in the past. I'll try this
hmm,
without taking that self evaluation and self look at myself. Um, but yeah, I remember when you and I were talking about that a while back. We were talking about relationships just on the phone call, and that's hard. That's something hard. You can't. That's why for me, it's like, hey, if I get married right away, if I get married and tell her I love her, and she says I love you, that's pretty committed. Then I can move to the next level.
yeah,
But one night stands, not even a chance.
no,
So, so 5 years. We left off at 5 years with you.
yeah, yeah,
5 years, you realized that something was going wrong, and now you have 2 more years left. So, in that 2 years, what did you do when you saw something was going? What did you do to try to maintain or try to, do some work to keep it going?
I'm going to be honest with you. I did nothing. I did nothing. We were basically living as roommates, and I did absolutely nothing. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the knowledge back then. I was young. I was young. I didn't have the tools or the knowledge to say, you know what, let's go to therapy. Let's work on each other. So we continued living as roommates for those 2 years, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then again, we were living on that dopamine. Let's go on vacation, get
Mm-hmm.
that high, come
Mm-hmm.
back from vacation.
Yeah.
We talked about that in episode 1, and it was just like that. And then up to the point, where we got to the birthday, and we had that discussion that we mentioned in episode 1. At that point, it was over. And then we honestly was the fastest divorce in the history of divorces. I mean, everything happened so quickly. We made the decision to split up, and within a few weeks, the house was sold, everything was split up, and it was done,
Wow.
and that was it. And then after that happened, all of a sudden, she came back. She came back, and she was
Wait,
like,
after everything was done?
after everything was done, she started messaging me
Damn.
again. She's like, I regret my decision, blah 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? Like for me, it was done. It's been done for a long time. I had already moved on. Like it was
Oh,
like,
okay.
I'm
Wow,
done.
that's incredible for you though to be able to say that easily. Well, no, I'm done. Because did you have another relationship
Well,
right
that's the thing.
afterwards?
Yeah, exactly. So after everything was done, I had already started seeing someone.
Oh, okay. Well, there it
So
is. There it is.
that's
Yeah.
that's
You
that's
jumped on
why.
another lily pad and you're like, oh, wow,
Yeah,
this is a cool lily pad.
exactly. And I was like, you know what? Like then I was in that honeymoon phase again, right?
Yeah.
So it was amazing. I was like,
But
oh yes, this is
that's
what it
another
takes.
dopamine dump for you though. Like now
Ex-
you have someone new,
that's
you
what I'm
know,
saying. Yeah,
everyone likes their shitty old car until they get a brand new car and then you don't even think about that shitty car anymore. It's like,
exactly.
wow, I got cruise control in this. I remember when I bought my Tesla, I was like, how am I ever going to drive another vehicle in my life that
Yeah,
doesn't self drive itself?
e-
And
exactly.
I mostly bought my Tesla. I bought my Tesla 3 or 4 years ago. I think we have the same type. We have a model. I had a Model Y. You have a Model Y, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I have now. Yeah,
Um, Unlike you, I bought my Tesla because I wanted people to tell me, dude, you have an amazing car. I wanted that. My vanity was at an all time high. I almost went to the final state championships of the vanity assholes of the world. But I wanted a car that I loved the Tesla because I didn't have to spend so much money on gas. But once I started driving and the acceleration, I would call people. I'm like, you want to go for a ride?
yeah,
And I would wait for them. Like, look I have video games and it's my car. See that blue car in the video game? That's my car. And another dopamine dump for the dopamine junkie that I was. I wanted all the dopamine. I wanted
yeah.
everything. When my spouse and I wanted to go camping, we wanted to start camping. What would normal people do to go camping, Pat? If you wanted to go camping, what would you do?
Well, what do you mean? Like we're just starting off?
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
obviously.
you know what? I think it'd be fun for us to go camping. Like we should start taking camping on as a hobby.
Okay, so you mean like you start off as a tent? You
A
try it with a
tent, right?
tent. Yeah, you
So
go
we
with a
did that
tent, and you.
once and then
Yeah.
it flooded and then I was done with that. So what's the next step after that?
Well, then after that, if you like it, if you like camping, you want to kind of upgrade. Some people won't, but some people will. They'll get like like a trailer or something.
A trailer,
Yeah,
pull behind or something. It's got a
yeah,
little burner on the inside or something.
yeah, yeah.
Not good enough for me.
So you went straight to like the
I had to
motorhome,
buy a diesel pusher Winnebago with the slide outs and the satellite TVs. That's how we're
right?
going camping
Okay,
because that's the biggest dopamine dump that I could see at that point. And
I
then my
see.
mental health was not well then. And what do you think the next level to that is? Like we had a gorgeous Winnebago 40-foot diesel pusher. What do you think like would be better than that?
The chalet.
I bought a tour bus, dude.
Oh, okay.
I bought a straight up tour bus like rock stars have. So yeah, so I would go to campsites, Pet, and people would think Garth Brooks was in town. I would be backing in next to a camper or to a tent, and I had a straight up Prevost tour bus. Um, and again, that was only because I wanted people would take pictures in front of it. And I was just watching these people taking pictures and I was getting all the dopamine that I needed. And it was just so terrible, dude. I look back at that now and I feel really bad for that person. But always go back to the comment, if it could have happened any way else, it would have.
Yeah.
And that's what got me here today. If I didn't have those moments of pain and mental health issues, I would never be here today, ever.
But that's why those dopamine boosts, they're so, you can't trust them. You can't trust them
No,
because
no.
they just keep you going just a few more weeks, a few more months, and then you need a hit. It's like a drug, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly
Well,
what it is.
I would use TikTok with that, or any like TikTok or social media. In the last couple of years, not so much in the last year or so, but when I was feeling down or if I was anxious, I would get my dopamine dump by going on TikTok and just scrolling mindlessly
Yeah.
to get something, right? And I was just like, so I would see something make me laugh, or I would see, but I would be able to drown my problems and not think
Yeah.
about anything. I don't think I'm the only one that does
No,
that. I think a
hell
lot of
no.
people do that,
Hell no.
Yeah. So,
Hundreds and thousands and millions of people
right.
do that.
What if you go back to the 7 years you were married?
Yeah.
Um, and you said you started seeing a decline at 5. Can you give me an example of a decline? Like, what does that decline look like? And I'm trying to compare our 2 relationships here. Like,
Okay. Well, look,
what does the
let's,
decline look like?
yeah, let's go deep into it. Just the sex. Let's talk about sex.
Let's
Just
talk
straight
about
up.
sex, baby.
Let's
Let's talk.
talk about me in that relationship.
Okay.
The sex. I mean, when you're in the honeymoon phase, the sex is like it's there, right? For some people it's twice a day. For some it's once, twice a week, 3 times a week. It depends. Everybody's got their different numbers, right?
Some people
But
are 3 times a month, dude.
yeah,
I know
and
people like that.
yeah, and there's also people that are once a year. Hence me and my last relationship. We'll get
Shut
back to
up.
that. I swear to God, we'll get back
Once
to
a
that
year?
once a year. Okay, people will probably not believe me, but I kid you not.
Oh, I mean,
Last
I believe you.
relationship was like was about once a year.
Wow. That's
Okay, so
crazy.
we'll get that into that in another episode. Okay, but
The
yeah, so
actual Are we
basically,
gonna get into the actual sex part of it? You're gonna tell us what happened that once a year? It must have been
absolutely, yeah, I'll give you all the
fireworks.
details.
Let's do
Hell
it.
yeah, let's do it
Wait, I have a moaning woman voice in here somewhere.
on your
Like,
soundboard. Yeah,
there it is.
you played it last time, I think.
Did I? So
No,
once a year? Oh my goodness
yeah,
gracious.
once a year. So yeah, so basically, that's how it started. That's when I started seeing a decline. It reduced, dramatically. Okay. And so it's not just about the sex, though. I want to make one thing very straight here. It's not just about the physical aspect of it, it's the intimacy and vulnerability part of it that I saw declining.
Right.
When you're no longer having sex, you're no longer getting close to each other.
Mhm.
And so when your love language is quality time and physical touch, which is mine, you just took that away from me. And now you're not loving me in the way that I need to be loved. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm still so the Adderall's making me fixate right now on once a year. I still can't get over
Oh,
that.
you see, but we'll get into it, Mary. Don't worry, but
Once a
another
year.
episode.
Did you
Yes.
sleep in the same bed?
Of course. Yeah. But this is a whole, I mean, this goes far. Like there's a whole story behind this
Okay.
and the way it happened, the way
Okay.
anyways, this is, the story will blow your mind. And that's the relationship that absolutely fucking destroyed me. Like
Wow.
it destroyed me. And that's what I've been healing from the past 2 years. Again, we're never going to name names. All right.
Mm-mm,
So
never.
we're never going to do that. But I'm going to talk about that relationship a lot because it fucked me up, dude, to a point that you wouldn't even understand. We could talk about that relationship for literally 15 episodes straight.
Well, I think I could understand that pain. So,
That one, yeah.
I could
Yeah,
understand.
definitely.
I understand the pain, but everyone's pain is different. Just because you said you have pain, everyone's pain is different-ish, but it's still the same, you know?
Exactly. Well, when you say that, it's you can understand my pain, like what I went through. Everybody's got pain. Everybody got something they're going through, but it was something crazy. So that's when I saw the decline, and I was trying. I was trying to do stuff. Back in the day, we had a house, we had a pool, we had a spa as well. Like I try these little things, like go in the spa butt naked, meet me in there, and nothing. Like it was just everything I was trying was always like being denied or rejected. And as a man, we'll probably understand each other on this, Mario. What hurts a man more than that? When you're constantly being rejected and denied, like your ego takes a hit, man. It takes a
Right.
blow like no tomorrow.
I mean, full disclosure, I probably wouldn't have gotten a hot tub with you naked myself, personally,
Right.
if I was in that situation, and I don't think your ego would
You've
be
never tried it
hard.
though. You've never
I
tried it though.
I never tried it, though. No, I
So
never did.
you can't
Um,
say you hate something if you've never tried it.
I don't know. That is true. "Hey, dude, what are you up to?" "Not much. I'm just getting in the hot tub naked. You wanna come over?" Yeah, I'm busy. I got some shit going on, but,
There you go.
good luck." Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on that, but, um, so you tried. And yes,
Yeah.
the ego kick is something that's terrible. Again, earlier, in this episode, I told you about how my first high school fling cheated on me, and I felt that pain. I knew that pain. Um, so it's weird how I would have reacted to not having sex for a year. Um,
You're still stuck on that, huh?
sorry, can't let it go. Um, I just,
Yeah.
I think I don't know how I would like. I think after a week or two, like it'd be different if if she was on her period or if she was in pain or something happened. Of course, I'm not going to push the situation, right? You have
Hmm.
sex with someone you want to, and oh, here's another one for me that was really, really big. It was um both parties had to have that want to have sex too. Like if it was just me wanting to have sex and I knew that she didn't want to have sex, I would be so self-conscious of myself that I would shit on myself the whole time. I don't know if
Yeah,
that makes sense to
it
you,
does.
you know? Um, but carry on because I want to hear more about this. So you knew it was done.
Yep.
She called you. That's where so a couple weeks later she calls you. She's like, "Hey, I made a mistake. I want to come back now. And we're
Yeah.
going to have sex every 6 months, not every year."
No,
Like,
but that's the thing. She started doing stuff she wasn't doing before. Like, the whole spa situation. She never did that before. And all of a sudden she's doing it. And she's like, join me. Da, da, da. This is before we sold the house and everything. Like it was in between everything getting solved. And I was just like, no,
okay.
like, I'm sorry. I'm like in my head, I don't know about you, but like for me, like once I will do a lot of stuff to keep you. Like if I'm dating you,
Mhm.
I will lift mountains and open up rivers, whatever the expression
Right.
is. I'm gonna do
Open
everything
up
to love you.
rivers. I love you so much. I will open
I'm
up a river.
freaking Moses, bro. Okay, call me Moses. Um, so I would literally like do crazy stuff, because I'm in love. You're the person I care for. I'm going to do everything to love you the best way possible, the best way that I can. And once I see that it's not being reciprocated, or you're not even like taking it and accepting it, dude, I'm like a light switch. I'm done. I'm done.
Really.
And that's what happened. At that point, I knew it was finished. And then once it's done, it's crazy. You can never get me back, hence the reason I've never come back with an ex ever,
Right.
because you had me. The way I think is you had me. You had the chance, to be with me
Okay.
and to do everything that was possible to stay together, and you didn't. So you've lost your chance. Move on. I'm giving this chance to somebody else.
And I can understand that. I see that we can agree on.
Yeah.
If it was the other party and you tried everything you could, and then it was time for you to shut the love switch off, I could understand that.
Yeah.
What if it was you? What if she tried everything and she was like, "Dude, I'm in the hot tub naked. Why don't you join me?" And you're like, "Sorry, I gotta go film a TikTok." Or like, what if it was you and she tried everything and then you and her had a discussion and she said, "I'm done. I have my own place. I'm moving. I'm done. I'm finished."
Hmm.
What is would like I'm just trying to compare ourselves because you don't have the same mental health challenges that I had over the years.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what you would have done in that situation if she was like, "Ugh, I've tried everything and I just can't get to you. Like, where are you? What do
It's
you
a
do in
great,
that
it's a
situation?"
great question. So this would depend on if I believe this is the love of my life or not. If the person I'm with and I think is the love of my life and I fucked up, then yes, hell yes, I would try again.
But how do you
But
know that when you're in the moment? When you're in the moment,
this is the thing, I think who the love of your life is when, they make you better. They make you want to be better without having to change any, like, you know what I mean? Like if you're in a relationship and somebody's trying to change you, that's not very healthy. But when you're in a relationship where you want to change because you want to be the best version of yourself, that's a good sign this person's the right one for you.
mhm.
Could be the love of your life, right? You've done this, you've done that work. And for me, she wasn't it. Like it ended and it just made me realize, I'm not gonna fight for this one. I don't
Mm,
think she's the one. I'm not gonna fight for it. But if this was in a case where it was the person where I thought this was the love of my life, then fuck yeah, bro, I would fight like crazy to get her back. If
Do you
it's me
think
who fucked up.
do you think that ego would have anything to do with that at all? Like, um Do I need to fight or do I not need to fight? Like in your
I
situation?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think, you know, I've never really had a big ego, to be honest. And I think that's what's helped me in my relationships because I can relate to these things and I can understand and I can reflect. I don't think this case was ego. Like had it,
Okay.
had it been me who fucked up or whatever, if I really believe this is the love of my life, dude, I would do anything. I would do anything. But I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it in me to say, you know what, I have to hold on to this one or my life is going to shit. It wasn't like that. I was like, you know what, this is probably for the best. And we parted ways. And again, like I told you, at that relationship, after a few months, she ended up being pregnant. She got pregnant, she got a kid. And so
That's
that
right. Yeah.
just that put the cross on it, like, permanently.
Do
I
you
was like,
believe in
that's it.
soulmates, dude?
I do, yeah.
Do you?
I do, 100%.
What is the feeling for you if you feel like you've been in contact with your soulmate?
Um for me, it's like just when you're not with the person, without relating this to anxious attachment, you just have this really difficult time breathing without them. Like it
I
just
like that.
life
Yep.
is just difficult. Like you started a business, you talked to me about starting a business before. If you want your business to succeed, you have to work as if your life depended on it, right? You have to breathe what you're doing. And I feel like relationships is the same exact thing. When you meet someone and like what they bring you is just if it's taken away, you feel like you've lost your lungs and the power to breathe without relating it to anxious attachment style. Dude, that's your person, man. When you're constantly thinking about each other, when everything is just easy. It's easy and you feel like home. Like after a big day's work, after something happens to you, good or bad, they're the person that you think of.
Yeah.
That's your soulmate, man. That's
I
what I think.
agree. The
What do you
smallest
think?
things for me these days when I'm with my spouse, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie, which, or if I'm crocheting, which I learned how to crochet recently, by the way. Um, and if I'm sitting in bed crocheting, not saying a word at all, and just having the presence of that person next to you.
Yeah.
When you say breathing, that I can understand that because I breathe better. I breathe better. I sleep better. Everything is better knowing that the person is in my life. And I think, for me, my second relationship after that first divorce, which ended up in a divorce as
Mm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
we've been together for 15 years. And building on our relationship now in a different format, soulmates don't wait for people if they're not meant to be together. Soulmates don't tell you when you're in self-destruction mode to get help, to help yourself become better, and then maybe we can talk again. That's what soulmates do.
Yeah.
Soulmates will see you go through the worst of the worst, and if you're willing to fight for it and they see that you're willing to fight for it, that's what a soulmate is. So I do believe in it 100%. I do believe that everyone has someone. And I really feel bad when I read comments or if I see people talking about going through a divorce or see people disrespecting women. Dude, I cannot stand seeing a man disrespect a woman. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Even the way that some of my friends talk to their significant others or girlfriends or wives over the years, I just could not bring it to any sort of understanding on how you can talk to a woman that way. I don't understand it. And even through some of my hardest times, I would never bring myself to that, to diminish what my partner was.
Well,
Um,
it goes both ways, though. I mean, it
oh
goes both
yeah,
ways. Like
yeah,
I understand what you're saying, but if the woman is talking to you and treating you like absolute shit, at some point, everybody's got a limit, right?
totally,
Yeah. So
totally. But
I
use your words, not obviously not never to resort to physical violence, but
yeah.
use your words. But um, again, things would never get to that point if you had good communication, even talking about the bad things. My issue is over the years when she would bring me something rough to talk about, bad to talk about, I would run the opposite direction as fast as I could because
Right.
I didn't want my ego hit. What if something in this bad story I'm about to hear has something to do with me, which probably it does.
Right.
But what if it has to do with me? I'm going to feel bad. I don't want to feel bad. Let's go on vacation and let's go do something to forget about the situation. Let's sweep it
Exactly.
under the rug and not think about it. That was my that was the way I would handle things, you know. And I had an amazing wife that would be like, "We need to talk about this." And she was struggling so much because she needed to talk about this with her partner, and I was not present whatsoever. Never present for her. If it was
Yeah.
something good, yeah, we'll talk about it. But if it was something bad, I'm running the other opposite direction.
So you know what a phrase, we're talking about soulmates. There's a phrase, dude, that probably, I'm not gonna lie, probably give me a boner.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Hey now.
and, and this is the phrase, dude. Listen, I can't afford to lose you. What do I need to do? What do we need to do to make things right?
Yeah.
That phrase, dude, no one's ever told me that. First things first, no one has ever told me that.
Mhm.
Um, but if somebody told me that, dude, that's it. For me, that's it. That's the summum right there. When someone tells you, I cannot afford to lose you, I am not willing to lose you, whatever we have to do together to make it work, I'm down for it. That's the love of your life.
What I heard a couple days ago.
What?
I love you so much that sometimes I don't have the words to tell you how much I love you.
Yeah. You see?
I wanted to die right there. That's
Yeah, that's it.
those are the things. Don't buy me flowers, don't buy me gifts, don't buy me anything. You say words like that to me, you hit me in a different spot of my body
That's it.
that it's not, again, we talked earlier, it's not about sex, it's not about that. Those are the moments.
Well, dude, it's the same feeling as, you're going hiking, you're going to climb Everest. That feeling when you get to the top in a
Mhm.
relationship, that's it right there. That's the summit. That's the summum.
If she didn't have sex with you for a year and she said, "Listen, I can't have sex because if I have sex, I have issues. I have uteral issues that I can't have sex, but I love you and I'm here for you and I want to be here for you." Answer.
Listen, that wasn't the case.
No, no,
Okay.
I'm not saying
Heads
that was
up.
the case.
It
I'm
wasn't the
asking you
case, but
if that was the case.
then yes, dude, of course. I
Right.
think again with communication, if this is, you know, I don't know how deep I want to go into this, but there's ways around this. If your partner is sick, if your partner can't do it, you know what I mean? Like there's
Hmm.
so many things that could happen. But you know, the way I see it, if I'm in a relationship, I want my partner to be happy.
Right.
That's all that I want. I will do anything to make you happy, and your happiness is my happiness. Other way around. Let's say I'm the one who's sick. I can't do it anymore. I'm not gonna lie, Mario. I would tell my wife, listen, I love you enough to spend the rest of my life with you. You're my partner, but I cannot do it. I can't do sex anymore. So you know what? If you need it, if you feel the need to go get it, like go get it somewhere else and then come back to me.
Wait a minute a second. You just said you can't do sex anymore. So this was you?
No, no, no. I'm just saying an example. We're
Oh,
switching
an
the roles around.
example.
Yeah,
Oh, an
yeah.
example.
We're switching the
I
roles
thought
around.
maybe,
No, no, no.
the
Let's
old
say
spicoli couldn't get up or
let's say
something.
it's me. I would expect my partner to do the same for me. That's
Right.
where I was going.
Yeah.
So
Well, absolutely.
so if she can't do it anymore because of medical reasons and it's important to me, you have to find a way to continue being happy
Right.
because then it's going to end. So if this is really your partner, your soulmate, the love of your life, and you can no longer perform for whatever the reason might be, you have to communicate and find ways to agree to something.
And it's going to be fun to see what the comments are because last night you were on a TikTok live and I jumped in on your live with you. People wanted me to stay on the live with you
Yeah.
because they said they needed two good looking guys. Just kidding.
One's not enough. Yeah. We want to
But
know more about you, Mario, though. You got
you,
to,
what do you want to learn more about?
well, you know what? On the next episode, we want to hear more about, your relationships. What's going
On the next episode.
on the next episode?
So I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. This is not an easy thing. You just don't open this book and skim through all 50 years, or in Pat's case, 35 years, 35 chapters. If every year was a chapter, you
Damn.
can't just open the book and go through it. So we have to go through one chapter at a time. Um,
Absolutely.
and I know people want to know more. And guess what? We're going to tell you more. But this is a vulnerable thing for me too, to be on a podcast talking to people all over the planet. Like if you would see Pat, we really should put a little video up on all the different places that our people are listening to. And I want to say this from the bottom of my heart, from to the people in the United States, Canada, South America, Europe, New Zealand, Australia, China. There's people all over the country or all over the world listening to us two dudes talking about relationships. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Um, we don't have all the answers. If you want us to answer something, send us a comment. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page and to Spotify. Click the bell, the link, whatever the hell is up there. But we're going to go through this together. And some of the conversations are going to be harder than others. And I will tell you that I'm going to depend on you, Pat, to push me a little bit in some conversations. And I'm going to do the same to you because I think that's what our listeners and our viewers deserve. We're saying we're going to open up and help. Well, you can't help someone without being vulnerable and explaining the truth of what happened to you. So that's why we're here. So I want to thank everyone. And this is going to be, this is chapter 2. So this was our second episode, and I'm just happy that everyone was here.
It was good. And I want to remind everyone that the reason we're doing this and opening up so much is just to show people that maybe you're not alone in your situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you think you're alone, but you're not. People have probably gone through the same things as you have. And we just want to be there to show you that this is it and how we got out of it together differently, but
Right.
together. So,
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're all at the end of the day, we are seriously all in this together.
yeah,
Um, and it's just a matter of trying to get out without so many scars.
exactly.
Okay. Pat, love you, man. We'll see you next week. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the Got It podcast. We'll see you
Love you
later.
too, brother.